So I want you to picture the last time you participated in a hackathon. Maybe it was at a conference. Maybe it was at a former employer. Maybe you were a hacker, or perhaps your company sent you to represent your company's API. I want you to remember just what it felt like to be there. Do you remember the excitement in the air? Do you remember what people were building? Do you remember the passion in their voice when they described it to you? Do you remember how disparate people came together to collaborate in a competitive spirit? If you're unable to recall a memory similar to the one I've just described, you likely fall into one of two categories. You've never been to a hackathon, or you've been going to the wrong hackathons. I've been to a lot of hackathons in my days. I've been to public hackathons, where I've worked on projects as a developer, designer, and project manager. And if you've ever sponsored a hackathon as an API sponsor, you know the drill. You show up and issue challenges to hackers. The organizers should further direct you if you're not familiar with this process. But this talk is not about public hackathons. This talk is designed to inspire you to run your own hackathon with your own engineers to help your company break out of the everyday routine and unleash creativity, inspire change, and uncover improvements you didn't even know were there. So who am I? I'm Benjamin Dunphy, organizer and managing partner at Real World React. And Real World React helps companies become experts in the extended React.js ecosystem. We provide them with training, consulting, and even assist in placing qualified engineers at their company. We also run a meetup in San Francisco. And these meetups feature many experts in the JS and React community and are free to attend. And finally, we also run a yearly conference called Reactathon. And this conference brings together the brightest minds and best speakers in the React community to provide technical deep dives into various topics in the extended React.js ecosystem. And each year at this conference, we organize a 2-day hackathon. And for the past 2 years, we've held the hackathon at GitHub's San Francisco headquarters. So in this talk, I'm going to explore the reasons why you'd want to run a hackathon yourself, some practical strategies on how to run it, and discuss tips and insight from some exciting companies in San Francisco. So we're going to explore this topic through the lens of 4 companies who have wholeheartedly embraced hackathons as a regular part of their company culture. Eventbrite was founded in 2006, and they build software for event promotion and ticket sales. And they have about 1,000 employees. Coursera was founded in 2012. They're a platform for online education. And they have about 280 employees. Zumper, also founded in 2012, is a fast-growing startup focused on renting and selling real estate. And they have about 129 employees. And Brigade, founded in 2014, they're a startup building software to help citizens more effectively campaign their government representatives. They have about 50 employees. And I selected these companies for 2 reasons. First, their sizes run the gamut from scrappy startup to mid-sized corporation. And second, they each have unique methods for running their hackathons that make for an interesting case study. So before we get into the why and the how of hackathons, let's start with the what. Just what is a company hackathon? So a company hackathon is a break from the everyday routine. Employees are freed from their day-to-day list of tasks and responsibilities and are free to work on challenges or whatever else they want. So for some of you managers and executives that are in the audience, this might sound a little scary. All routine creates discipline. Day-to-day tasks set expectations. And fulfilling our responsibilities is the duty of any good employee. So why would you want to free your employees from this, to work on challenges, or worse yet, whatever they want? When asked about his company's motives for running a hackathon, Nico Rattazzi, head of product at Zumper, recalled that engineers love to understand the problems their users are facing in the real estate industry. Since they're a really fast-moving startup, it's easy to fall behind on certain tasks or lose perspective amidst a fast-evolving product. So they like to have a few days to investigate specific things without restriction. Nick Popoff, the director of engineering at Eventbrite, said that hackathons give everyone the feeling of throwing away all the rules and working together in the way that they want to work together. People go home energized and happy and get to know one another better. Paris Kachi, the director of web engineering at Brigade, said that a hackathon is a great way to point out the inefficiencies of your software development process. If your team can build meaningful, complex projects in just a few days, it can highlight procedural and technological problems with your stack. And John Wong, senior software engineer on the front-end infrastructure team at Coursera, believes that as the company grows, it becomes increasingly difficult for individuals to share their ideas across the company. A hackathon is a great way to bring people together across teams and verticals, and to more effectively share those ideas with the company. So to summarize, some of the motives for running a company hackathon are to encourage cross-team collaboration to better understand the product and customer, to identify weaknesses in your current workflow, to create an opportunity for individuals to test, create, and share new ideas, to build and strengthen relationships among employees, and to improve morale. Okay, so we've covered the why. Let's move into the how. An effective hackathon has 5 principal components, which you can follow in sequential order. Number 1, you want to set the ground rules. Then you want to generate ideas, form teams. Obviously, you want to hack at some point. And then you select the winners. So let's start with the ground rules. This includes logistics such as the date it should take place, who is going to participate in the hackathon, the length of the hackathon, an outline of your schedule, and establishing cultural expectations that fit your company's needs. So you'll need to have someone to decide these things. For Eventbrite, the variables are almost entirely left up to circumstance. Although they officially organize a hackathon once a year, there's really no schedule. Gossip will start to whir in the office of a pending hackathon, as if to say, it's time. At that point, the PMs and managers will plan the hackathon into the next 8-week cycle. And these PMs and managers will select a core team based on who is known to actually enjoy the organization process. This is generally a mix of ICs, designers, managers, marketing, etc. This is a similar approach at Coursera, except it's a bit more structured. Coursera's hackathon is regularly scheduled twice a year. In the weeks leading up to their hackathon, a committee of 8 to 10 people representing various teams will form to come up with a theme for the hackathon. For example, one year they came up with a theme called A New Era. This was their first hackathon after a large reorganization. So their goal was to move Coursera into the future so that they didn't get stuck in the past. But what both Eventbrite and Coursera do really well during this time is branding, marketing. They will design a logo for the hackathon, put them on t-shirts, and do other bits of branding to drum up hype for the hackathon. Here's a photo of some hackers at Coursera wearing their custom designed t-shirt from the hackathon. And here's a photo of an engineer from Eventbrite wearing a hackathon t-shirt who's really in his element. And true story, I took this photo just seconds after my interview with Eventbrite's director of engineering, Nick Popoff. This gentleman just happened to be walking by. And this is but one of the many tangential benefits that you get from dedicating a bit of time and resources towards the brand of your hackathon. This gentleman is not wearing this t-shirt just because it looks cool. He's wearing it because of a representation of an experience. It's a conversation starter, a badge of honor, a rite of passage, whatever you want to call it. It's a way to continue the legacy of a proud and distinctive hacker culture that can be passed down to generations of new employees to educate and inspire them to do the same. But if this is your first time doing a hackathon, this may all seem a little overwhelming. You may not want to invest the resources into branding until you've really implemented the core fundamentals of the process. So let's get into the details to talk about the remaining 4 principal components of a hackathon. So we've discussed a bit about setting the ground rules. Now it's time to generate some ideas to work on. And whether you realize it or not, your engineers and other employees as well have tons of ideas kicking around. I'm willing to bet that there are hundreds of problems that members of your team have faced. But whether because of time constraints or otherwise, they simply didn't have the opportunity to implement it, let alone propose it. The best way to bring these ideas out from the shadows and into the light is a hackathon. And there are many ways this can be done. For example, Brigade will have their staff write as many ideas into a central wiki as they can. Then they come together into a physical meeting to spend 1 hour talking about the ideas written, as well as any other ideas that come up. And when a specific topic is discussed or proposed, others can contribute to the conversation only by starting their sentence with yes and. In other words, Brigade wants to encourage people to explore a topic with its validity as a given. I would imagine this helps to build trust and confidence between the staff, and particularly encourage those who may be a little shy about sharing their ideas. Whatever your method for generating ideas to work on, the important thing is that you encourage everyone to participate and make it an inclusive and safe atmosphere to ensure that you have as many minds working together to solve your company's problems as possible. Our next key component is forming teams. Once you have your ideas generated, hackers will need to formulate a team around that topic. There are many strategies for this, ranging from passive to active. On the more passive end, while still retaining a certain level of interactivity, you can place all the ideas on cards on the walls of your location, or the location where the hackathon is taking place. Then people can go around, check out all the ideas, and stay at the one they like. This is the strategy that Brigade employs. Zumper takes a different route. They have a cohort of individuals who act as idea champions. These are generally people from outside of engineering, such as sales or support, who are passionate about a specific idea. And they take the lead on convincing others to join their team. And if you're looking to build products that are shippable, you should encourage diversity of roles. Having designers and product managers on a team of engineers almost always produces a more complete product. Okay, so now that everyone is broken up into teams, it's time for the hacking to begin. This is a generally more hands-off process, but you'll want to manage a few things. Most crucially, where exactly do the projects live? You'll want to create a central repository or source of truth to aggregate all the projects. This can be something as simple as an online spreadsheet, wiki, or a repository on GitHub. But Eventbrite took it one step further. They employ Simon Wilson, the co-creator of the Django framework. So he used his time at a hackathon to streamline this process and actually built a dedicated app that allows hackers to list and share their projects. And it's important to reiterate that hacker doesn't necessarily mean engineer. A good team will be comprised of individuals with diverse backgrounds and skills. However, we can take this logic even further. A team doesn't need to have engineers at all, and a project doesn't need to be engineering focused. Coursera is really the prototypical example in this regard. They encourage as many of their 280 employees as possible to participate in their hackathon. This means that people from sales, customer support, office management, and others will get involved. So if their project is not exactly product related in the software engineering sense, what exactly do they work on? Some examples from their previous events include teaching a class on Bollywood filmmaking, learning about leatherworking, leading a yoga class, or making self-care products from scratch, such as skin lotion. These are all projects and activities that improve the overall experience of a hackathon, leading to a much richer experience for everyone involved. And because Coursera values these non-software projects so much, they call their event Make-a-thon, not a hackathon. Unless you think this is just limited to Coursera, Eventbrite also embraces these non-engineering, non-product related projects. Eventbrite has an arts and crafts table at their hackathon, where individuals have the freedom to be creative without any pressure to make anything of immediate and tangible value to the company. The reasoning for this, as explained by Eventbrite, is that by playing with their hands and doing something different and creative, individuals are activating different parts of their brain. And since there are no prerequisites for an activity such as arts and crafts, it brings together people from different parts of the company who normally might not have the chance to meet and interact. So to summarize, don't place productivity-related restrictions on your hackathon or its attendees. You should play with the notion that not all teams and projects need to produce shippable software. And by offering alternatives, choices, and unconventional opportunities, you can get more people involved. And they'll choose the path that feels most interesting, productive, and exciting to them. Okay, so projects are nearing completion. How do we review them and actually select the winners? So this is comprised of a few subcomponents. First, you need to present or demo the project somehow. If you have a small hackathon, say with 20 total projects, then you may want to have everyone demo their projects in front of the entire group. If you give each team, say, 3 minutes to present and demo their projects, you'll spend a little over an hour doing this. However, if you have more than 20 teams, then you may want to allocate your time a little more selectively. Eventbrite streamlines this process by requiring everyone to record a brief video of their project. So for software projects, they will screencast their demo and perhaps record themselves in a short presentation. Coursera yet again takes this a step further. They go all out and set up an entire expo hall for people to show off their projects. This is because many of their hackathon projects are non-traditional and interactive. Additionally, it gives people more time to explore each project and to make more informed decisions when voting on their favorites. Okay, so in order to actually cast votes and select winners, you need to select a team of judges. This is generally the same organizing committee from the start that we mentioned, who have been involved with the hackathon from the very beginning. You'll want to set specific criteria based upon your motives for the hackathon. For example, Brigade has a prize for the project that is most shippable, and another for a project that improves the company's project infrastructure. Whatever criteria you choose, it should be clearly communicated to your hackers from the start of the hackathon. All of the companies in our case study employ this method of categories selected by judges, but they also pair it with a popular vote. The popular vote can be achieved in a number of ways. You can give each of the hackers a certain number of votes and have them cast it in a physical ballot box. Coursera gives 10 votes to each hacker, and Zumper gives them 3. As a general rule, the more projects you have to choose from, the more votes you should allow people to cast. At the hackathons that I organize, each team has 1 minute to present their project and 1 minute for Q&A. From there, the team of judges selects the top 6 teams. I like to interview the top 6 teams to allow them to really expand on their project. We keep it casual and fun, and allocate roughly 10 minutes to each team. After the top 6 interviews, we select the top 3 teams to present on stage in front of everyone. And both of these exclusive opportunities, the intimate interview as well as the stage presentation, are highly coveted and a lot of fun. So they add to the overall experience and the incentive. Which brings us to incentives. Should you have prizes for your engineers? At Coursera, this is a source of contention. They've considered offering cash prizes, but it just didn't feel right. Each team is given a budget of $300 at the start, mainly to help finance the products that are more interactive and not your typical software projects. But they focus more on the process, the experience, and the culture to incentivize participation, rather than an end goal. And this is partly why they allocate, get ready for this, 6 full days to their hackathon, or their makeathon as they call it. But each of the other companies in our case study do offer gift or cash prizes. At Reactathon, we reward the top 3 teams with gifts such as drones, televisions, and other electronics. One year, we even awarded 2 tickets to attend Facebook's ReactConf. So I hope that I provided you with a little more insight on running your own hackathon. And if you have any doubts, just remember to start small. And you can always grow from there. So if you have any questions, feel free to talk with me at lunch or in between sessions. I'm happy to chat about hackathons, building community, training or consulting, or really anything else. If you're feeling shy, don't hesitate to send me an email right there, ben@realworldreact.com. I'm in Tokyo until Wednesday, so I can even come to your office if needed. So thank you very much. Domo arigatou gozaimashita.